After the woman he always idealized, Stella, moved in pregnant, my husband Marcus transformed into a domestic paragon, rushing straight home from work without delay. My colleagues and neighbors envied me, believing I had married a wonderful man. But all I could do was offer a silent, bitter smile, because he rushed home not for me, but to care for Stella, who was pregnant. I had cried and made scenes, but he would just say, "Why can't you understand my dilemma? I just want to make up for past regrets." Unable to argue further, I left the house heartbroken. Just then, a figure blocked my path. "Grace, long time no see." I looked up in disbelief, seeing the one who left a lasting mark on my heart, Ethan, whom I had secretly admired for years, looking disheveled and leaning on crutches. Yet, his eyes were still gentle and soft as he looked at me. My eyes instantly welled up with tears. In that moment, I suddenly understood my husband. I couldn't help but grasp the man's hand and said, "Come home with me. I'll take care of you. Why are you only just getting back? Hurry in. Don't let the cold air him in. Stella can't stand the cold. Also, Stella has severe morning sickness, so her diet must be carefully managed. I need to make her special meals for pregnant women, and you shouldn't be eating those." Marcus, wearing an apron, froze in place. I had no time to notice him, carefully helping Ethan. "Be careful. I'll replace this door tomorrow. The threshold is too high." Ethan didn't move. He sighed deeply and said, "Grace, I appreciate your kindness, but it wouldn't be right for me to live in your house. I can manage on my own." He didn't finish his Discover More Candlesticks website, analytics services, AI, writing assistance, content creation, courses, YouTube video, transcripts, YouTube, tool integration, social media, scheduling, tools, silver productivity, software, document translation, service, sentence, before his left leg began to tremble slightly. I quickly helped him lean on me, my heart aching as I said, "How can you manage by yourself? With your leg in this state, how can I not worry?" Ethan remained stubbornly at the doorway, refusing to enter. He was so careful not to move. A far cry from the proud, confident man he used to be. Seeing him like this, I felt an unbearable pain. I looked up following his gaze, and Marcus spoke in a grave tone. "You want to let a man live in our house? Did you even ask for my opinion?" Ethan's leg couldn't support him, and he subtly leaned on me again. My heart clenched, and I retorted angrily, "What's wrong with letting him stay? He's disabled. What could he possibly do? He's already in this condition. Don't you have any sympathy?" Marcus scoffed. "What do a disabled person's problems have to do with me? If others found out that my wife brought a man home, publicly humiliating me, wouldn't I be laughed out of town?" "No, I don't agree." I was about to retort. Just then, a woman's weak, delicate voice called out from inside, "Marcus, where did you go? I feel awful. Please come quickly." I felt a sense of relief and retorted sarcastically, "If others found out that my husband brought a pregnant woman home, I wonder if he'd be completely shamed." Marcus glared at me. "How dare you? How dare you slander Stella?" I retorted without hesitation. "Why wouldn't I dare?" The woman inside began to sob softly. Marcus panicked, gritting his teeth as he said, "Don't disturb Stella." With that, he rushed towards the inner room. I knew he was backing down and agreeing to my terms for Stella's sake. I helped Ethan walk inside. His legs had long since given out. Once inside, I quickly helped him sit on the sofa. He still whispered, "Grace, I feel like I really shouldn't have intruded on your life. Grace, I only meant to glance at you from afar, but it's all my fault. I think it's better if I don't drag you into this." A scoff came from the kitchen. "If you know you're interfering with someone's marriage, why are you being so hypocritical?" I didn't mind Marcus helping Ethan settle his crutches and said gently, "Don't mind him. He's always like that. Just settle in and relax." I carried Ethan's things directly into the guest bedroom. Marcus snapped, "Stop. Are you actually going to let another man live with you?" Letting him into the house was my biggest concession. "Are you going to push your luck?" "Absolutely not." I didn't stop, continuing to pull the luggage through the doorway. Marcus, without even rinsing the soap suds from his hands, rushed over, grabbed my hand, and demanded, "Are you insane? I pulled my hand away, questioning him. Stella feels unwell and can only sleep soundly in a king-sized bed. I've already given up the master bedroom. Didn't you say I could use the guest bedroom however I pleased? When we first got married, neither of us cared much about houses, but we still hoped to have our life together as a couple after marriage, so we bought a small house. There were only 2 rooms in the house. The master bedroom had been taken over by Stella with half-hearted tears and annoyance. My things placed inside were also unwelcome. Stella found them too much, suffocating, so I, along with all my belongings, was forced to move into the guest bedroom. Marcus froze for a moment, seemingly recalling that incident. His tone softened a bit, but he still frowned as he spoke. "This isn't about doing whatever you want," I asked, puzzled. "Then what is it about?" "Ethan is already mobility impaired, and his legs are still recovering. Where else can he sleep if not this bedroom?" Marcus's temper flared again, but he's a man. Seeing face flushed crimson, I finally started to understand. Weren't those my lines from before? I sighed, realizing we needed to talk this through properly. "Marcus, I was indeed wrong." Marcus also softened his stance. "Good that you understand." Looking into his eyes, I said sincerely, I finally understand how you feel inside. Stella is the woman he always idealized. And now that you see her suffer, your heart aches. I felt the same way today when I saw Ethan. I don't think I can just leave him to fend for himself either. How about this? Yo, you take care of Stella, and I'll take care of Ethan. We can get along. You fill your past regrets, and I fulfill my past self. It's a win-win for both of us. Marcus, however, blurted out, "Absurd. That's absolutely ridiculous." I asked, puzzled. "Isn't this perfect? Besides, you were the one who let Stella move in first, so if anyone's being absurd, you started it." Marcus froze in place, unable to utter a word for a long time. Yet his face was still flushed red, apparently still unable to grasp it. Stella made a commotion again in the master bathroom. "Marcus, come quickly." Marcus didn't rush in immediately this time, unlike before. He stood still, quietly observing me. "Grace, are you using this as a way to blame me?" Stella's voice inside grew louder, and I had no time to argue with him, pushing him along. "What blame?
Just go in already."
Stella is pregnant, and if something happens to her, it wouldn't be good." Marcus finally left half reluctantly. I also breathed a sigh of relief and quickly sped up my tidying. Ethan is sensitive. I need to go be with him quickly. The next morning, as I carried the freshly made breakfast out of the kitchen, I ran into Marcus, who was just stepping out of the master bedroom. He stammered an explanation. "Stella didn't sleep well last night, so I stayed up for the latter half of the night." I looked at him surprised. Wasn't this his routine lately? Why was he suddenly explaining it to me? I nodded indifferently, about to walk past him. Just as I lifted my foot, I heard Marcus's delighted voice. "Grace, I knew it. You still care about me the most. These savory breakfast pastries are my favorite." I slapped his hand away. "What are you doing? Doesn't Stella get terribly sick from the smell of meat? These are specifically for Ethan." With that, I turned and walked toward the living room without hesitation. I love to eat meat, but ever since Stella moved in, I had been deprived of the right to eat meat at home at its war. Saying if I ate spicy barbecue ribs outside and had a slight scent of it on me, she would make a huge fuss. Stella was like she had a tracker, always able to smell meat on me. She wouldn't yell at me, but she'd immediately cover her nose and dramatically go to the bathroom, running the water loudly. But later, I always saw her buying savory snacks online. Marcus's only response was, "She's pregnant. Why are you arguing with her?" I shook my head, clearing those unpleasant memories. I walked to the living room and saw Ethan, who had been happily greeting me, immediately reverted to his cautious demeanor. I turned around, only then realizing Marcus had been following me the whole time. "Grace, you've really gone through a lot. I'm so useless. I wish my legs weren't injured. You stayed up all night watching over me, and now you're making me breakfast." I really seeing his self-reproaching expression, I hurried forward to comfort him. "Not at all. I'm doing this willingly. And your legs. It was all to save that child." Because of you, he survived being hit by traffic. I wanted to say more, but Marcus, who was behind me, exploded. Didn't we agree I'd sleep in the living room and give you the home office? Grace, you actually stayed up all night watching over him in the guest bedroom. As his words fell, I noticed Ethan lowering his head. Anger immediately surged within me. Marcus, his leg is unwell. Of course, I have to watch over him. Isn't that the same principle as you watching over Stella? Marcus froze, instinctively, retorting. That's different. What's different about it? I interrupted him. I won't interfere with your concern for Stella, and you shouldn't interfere with my concern for Ethan. At my words, Marcus was instantly silenced. He stood rooted to the spot, lost in thought. I had no time to mind him, carrying the plate to Ethan. Ethan, this is from your favorite place. I specifically bought green onions, ginger, garlic, and vinegar to go with it. It is going to be delicious. Ethan finally broke into a smile and said, Thank you, Grace. Marcus, however, snatched it away. Grace, what's this Grace business? How dare you eat something my wife bought? How dare you call my wife Grace? She has a name. Her name is Grace, not Grace, Ethan murmured. But she is my Grace. I looked at Marcus speechless. What's wrong with you? Stella called out again from inside. Marcus once again remained unmoved, his eyes fixed on me, looking like he wouldn't back down easily. Just as the tension escalated, Stella walked out, her eyes red. Marcus, didn't you hear me? Or, do you also think I'm a burden? Maybe I should just leave then. I'm only holding you back by being here. If it were before, I would have definitely rolled my eyes at Stella's teary appearance. But now I actually felt a pain of pity for her. Marcus quickly denied it. Stella, how could you be a burden? I just didn't hear you. Wait here. I'll make you breakfast right away. Marcus scurried off to the kitchen. Watching leave for Stella, I breathed a sigh of relief, glad that Stella had appeared at just the right time. After breakfast, I faced a new problem. I had to go to work, but I was worried about leaving Ethan alone at home with them. Ethan seemed to sense my concern and understandingly said, Grace, if you have work, you should go attend to it quickly. I haven't always had someone by my side, and you know my nature. I can handle basic things on my own. I glanced at the kitchen. Marcus came out just then, scoffing. What do you take me for? Do you think I'm some villain who would harm a disabled person? I gave an awkward laugh. How could I doubt my own husband's character? Although had been emotionally unstable lately, he was undeniably a good person. I married him precisely because he was a genuinely good man. In life, he respected his parents, was loyal to his friends, and before Stella came, we had a very happy life together as a C-up. Professionally, he was consistently rated as the most popular teacher among students. He also frequently donated to charities and volunteered. I really shouldn't have doubted him. After realizing this, I could finally go to work with peace of mind. At the office, I was still a little worried. Colleagues noticed my distraction, some even asking if I was all right. Finally, counting down the seconds until quitting time, I rushed straight home. The moment I stepped through the door, I saw Ethan fall to the floor, looking disheveled and miserable. I quickly ran over to check on him. Ethan, however, struggled to say, Grace, I'm fine. Marcus sneered. Of course he's fine. He's just faking it. Grace, don't be fooled by his act. Ethan lowered his head, pressed his lips together, and his eyes re-eamed. Grace, I truly am a burden. I only cause annoyance in this house. Please just let me leave. That word sounded familiar, but I didn't have time to recall where I'd heard it before. Marcus actually agreed immediately. I think he's right. He's too much trouble here. Grace, let him go. Rage instantly flared within me, and I was about to argue, but then my peripheral vision caught Ethan's re-eamed eyes. Almost instantly, I calmed myself. In fact, thinking about it carefully, my marriage with Marcus was already a marriage in name only. Perhaps it was better if we separated. Ethan had injured legs. If he stayed in this house, I dared not imagine what other harm he might suffer when I wasn't around. Leaving was indeed the best option. I nodded and said, All right then. Marcus said happily, Grace, It's good that you've come to your senses. I looked at him seriously and said, our current situation truly demands that we go our separate ways. Marcus, let's get a divorce. Marcus said disbelievingly. Grace, what are you saying? Are you going to divorce me for a man with crippled legs? I smeared back. Marcus, do you think we still resemble a normal couple in this ST8? It's quite fitting now. You have someone you want to care for, and I have someone I want to look after, so why don't we just separate? Marcus couldn't find a reason to argue, merely repeating, no, that won't do. How can we separate? How can we separate? The last time I heard that question was when we decided to break up. After college graduation, our paths diverged. Both of us knew perfectly well that we were about to go our separate ways. Neither of us wanted to be the one to say it. We both just wanted to prolong it. But eventually, we couldn't drag it out anymore. That day, we both drank a lot. Holding hands, he walked me down by the dorms, and I finally spoke. Marcus, let's break up. Despite the scorching midsummer heat, the air around us felt like the bitter cold of winter. He remained silent, not speaking, just holding my hand tightly. He kept repeating, how can we separate? Marcus's voice pulled me back to reality. How many difficulties did we overcome to reach this point? First, there was over a year of long distance. Later, I worked hard and finally got transferred to the main office, which allowed us to reunite. But only today did I understand. Perhaps we were just used to having each other around. The sudden appearance of the woman he always idealized could sever this relationship so easily. I said, my voice filled with pain. There's no need to drag this out. Stella needs you more. Stella appeared at that opportune moment. Marcus, what's wrong? Are you arguing because of me again? I knew I should have. For the first time, Marcus interrupted Stella before she could finish her sentence. All right. Stella is indeed far along now. I'll send her to the hospital, and you won't have to worry about her affecting our life anymore. Stella was also stunned. Marcus, what do you mean? Are you going to kick me out too? Did complain about me to you again? Saying I'm too much trouble. But now besides you, I have no one else to rely on. No matter how Stella pulled at him, he didn't turn around. It was the first time he had deliberately avoided Stella's gaze. I even felt a little bad. But didn't you say she's pregnant and needs constant care? Would you really leave her alone at the hospital all by herself? Actually, Stella is quite pitiful. Marcus let out a bitter laugh. Grace, are you trying to push your husband onto another woman?
I didn't understand why.
Marcus was asking that. Even if I didn't push him, wasn't he already eagerly attending to Stella? Even if he was willing to send Stella away for my sake at this moment, but it might just be a temporary tactic. I couldn't predict if he would change his mind again in the future, swayed by Stella's tears, or if something happened to Stella, would he blame today's decision? I dared not gamble, nor did I want to. I looked at Marcus seriously and said, Marcus, I've made up my mind. Let's separate. Marcus sneered, yet he still held my hand tightly. Grace, think this through. If you truly decide to separate, don't expect me to be waiting here if you change your mind. Marcus remained silent for a long time. Ethan, however, took my arm and also tried to persuade me. Grace, please don't act impulsively because of me. Divorce is no small matter. Don't do it because of me. I replied, it's not. Marcus simultaneously interjected, this is between my wife and me. What does it have to do with you? Don't stand there stammering. Ethan immediately swallowed the words he was about to say. Marcus wasn't finished. If it weren't for you, how would Grace and I have ended up like this? I couldn't help but glare at Marcus. I complained silently to myself. How could he not remember the woman he always idealized?
Stella now?
Stella tugged at him, her voice trembling as she said, Marcus, don't be like this. I'm scared. My stomach. The baby inside is uncomfortable, too. What should we do? He didn't seem to notice her plea. Turning to me, he became calm. Grace, we really should cool off for a while. We shouldn't make any rash decisions. During this time, I'll send Stella to the hospital. I myself will go stay at the campus apartment. Once we both calm down, We can talk properly. Stella's face fell. Marcus, isn't it a waste of money for me to go to the hospital now? Besides, there are so many people at the hospital. How will I get used to staying there? I'll be so scared alone at night. These were all scenarios I had anticipated before. When faced with her delicate displays of vulnerability, I mostly felt disdain. Marcus, on the other hand, always fell for her act. Whenever she softened, he'd surrender immediately. They'd be all sweetness and light, and I'd be the one who ended up unlucky. But this time was different. I felt like an outsider, and now that I didn't care about their relationship, I felt much more relaxed. Marcus also sank into thought. I couldn't help but chuckle aloud. I had just asked him if he could bear to leave Stella alone at the hospital. Now the problem had arrived. Marcus glanced at me, then at Stella, and finally said, "Stella, I'll hire medical staff to take care of you specially, and I'll visit you often." Stella's face truly went pale this time. She tried to ask, "Marcus, are you really being so heartless? You know, I can't be without you." I couldn't watch anymore. And scoffed, "Marcus, Stella is so pitiful. I think you should just go stay with her anyway. Afterwards, you'll have a legitimate reason to." Marcus snapped. "How can I stay with another woman? Grace, we're not divorced yet. Until we're divorced, I expect us both to refrain from any inappropriate behavior." This time, I genuinely laughed, whispering, "You and Stella have done plenty of inappropriate things, and you haven't just been staying with her for one night. Why are you suddenly so scrupulous now that we're getting a divorce?" Marcus paused for a moment before saying, "I'll be more careful in the future." Marcus didn't have many belongings, and he had packed Stella's things very well, too. They quickly finished packing. Just before leaving, Marcus said to me, "The master bedroom has been cleaned up. Don't crowd in with that person. He is a man after all." One day, without Marcus and Stella in the house, Ethan's spirits improved greatly. My worries were gone. I ate well and slept well. I was no longer distracted at work. My colleagues all said I looked like I'd come back to life. I also realized that when Marcus was home, Ethan was restricted everywhere, forbidden from entering certain areas or touching things. Now that they were gone, Ethan could even make dinner and wait for me. Chicken and mushroom stew, braised beef, garlic butter shrimp. It had been so long since I'd seen so many meat dishes. Why should I have to walk on eggshells in my own home? After eating such flavorful and appealing dishes, I almost regretted not getting away from those two sooner. Now things were truly good. Just as I was marveling at how good life was, the lock turned. Marcus walked in carrying a large bag of food. "I knew you couldn't cook. He's a disabled man and you have to take care of him, so you definitely can't rely on him. Grace, look, I bought a lot of groceries, all your favorites." Marcus demonstratively swung the bag in his hand. He walked into the kitchen to plate the food only to find Ethan already washing dishes. It was then that he stammered, "You've already eaten. Ordered takeout, didn't you? That's so unhealthy. How can you do that? Let me." He picked up the savory snacks from the edge of the kitchen counter and threw them aside in disgust. I scoffed. "Ethan, and I didn't buy that. Those were bought by your Stella, who makes a huge scene and turns everything upside down at the slightest scent of meat. She loves these. She's bought them several times. You should hurry and take them to her at the hospital. What if she CRA versus them?" Marcus said, dumbfounded. "How is that possible? How could these be Stella's?" I simply pulled out the packaging box. The name on it was clear as day. Marcus still habitually defended Stella. "She's pregnant. Maybe she just had an occasional craving." I retorted sarcastically.
Right.
"She certainly enjoys eating them herself. Her cravings seem to be a 3 times a day affair. By the way, don't forget to take these with you when you leave. Ethan and I will be making meat dishes often from now on. So, you really shouldn't come over. If she smells it and suddenly feels unwell, that wouldn't be good, would it?" Marcus didn't say anything more, put the groceries away in the fridge. I thought he would just leave, but then he went into the guest bedroom. I stopped him and said, "How can you just walk into someone else's room? I've already organized all your things into the home office." If you need to find something, look there, Marcus said, disbelieving. Grace, this is our home. My things are just thrown around like trash. But another man's things get their own designated spot. Is that it? I countered, puzzled. Before, when Stella moved in, weren't my things also deemed bothersome by another woman? At that time, why didn't it occur to you that I'm also the owner of this house? Besides, we're almost divorced now, and you'll have to move out eventually, so where do your things matter? Marcus completely lost his composure and grabbed my arm.
Divorce. Divorce.
Why do you keep bringing up that word? Grace, we're not divorced yet. I was about to argue with him, but a loud crash came from the living room. Ethan seemed to have fallen to the floor. My only thought was to take care of Ethan. I had no idea when Marcus had left. When I helped Ethan into the bedroom, Marcus was already gone. Ethan had heard Marcus and I arguing and worried I might get hurt, had fallen down in a hurry. His leg had re-injured a bit. I wanted to take him to the hospital, but he flatly refused. I had no choice but to stay with him, watching over Ethan, and only left the guest bedroom after he fell asleep. But when I came out, I saw the living room lights were on again. Walking into the living room, I saw Marcus sitting on the sofa, staring blankly. Seeing me, he asked, looking somewhat helpless. Grace, how did we end up like this? Marcus wasn't usually this soft-spoken. When had he ever been this vulnerable? As I approached, I smelled a strong scent of alcohol on Marcus. Marcus, why are you so drunk? Marcus didn't speak, just pulled me into a tight embrace. Grace, I miss you so much. Grace, let's not separate, okay? Feeling his familiar embrace, a pain of bitterness still rose within me. We had been together for so long, it was impossible to say. I felt nothing about leaving him immediately. In that moment, I also couldn't help but think. Actually, there was still affection between us. As I was lost in my internal struggle, Marcus's phone rang. A distinct ringtone unlike anyone else's. Marcus answered the call in 0 seconds flat, blurting out the name of the person on the other end. Stella, what's wrong? Not wanting to interfere, I tried to pull away from Marcus's embrace, but wouldn't let go for anything. Until a medical staff member on the other end took the phone, saying sternly, "Your wife's condition isn't very good right now. You should come over." Only then did Marcus straighten up, giving me space to breathe and break free from his grasp. It was only then that I realized I was actually worried about Marcus being drunk, even believing he might tell me the truth in his stupor. He had been accustomed to all kinds of social gatherings with his family since childhood. I couldn't help but laugh at myself for being so naive. Even though I had made up my mind, Marcus's actions still managed to stir my emotions. Marcus said, frowning, "Grace, Stella's condition is really not good tonight. I can't just ignore her. Don't you worry. As soon as Stella's condition stabilizes, I'll return to the campus apartment. And don't keep going into that guy's room. He's not a good person. Grace, believe me, you're still the most important person in my heart." I said flatly, "Go quickly. Stella is waiting. What if something happens to her if you're late?" Marcus, thinking I agreed with him, hugged me emotionally and then quickly left. I watched his retreating back for a long time. He might have me in his heart, but he also has Stella. Perhaps I held some place. But Stella's wasn't far behind. If what he gave me was similar to what he gave others, there was no longer any reason for me to cling on. Marcus, once I leave this time, I won't ever want you back. It was time for us to have a complete understanding. The lock on this house should also be replaced. The next day, I woke up early contemplating how to make Marcus let go while also preparing for Ethan's follow-up appointment at the hospital. But by such a coincidence, in the hallway on the way to the follow-up, we happened to run into Marcus carefully assisting Stella. Marcus explained, "Stella hasn't been feeling well and really couldn't be left alone, so I stayed with her all night." The nurse nearby also spoke with a smile. "Oh, you couples ran into friends, did you? Good people's friends are indeed good people, and loving couples know other loving couples. One comes every day to accompany his pregnant wife, and the other accompanies his husband for rehabilitation. How loving. It's truly wonderful. I should have my son see this, too. Young couples should take care of each other, Not just argue at home all day. How can that work? The moment her words fell, Marcus's face turned green with anger. Nurse, if you have something to do, please go ahead. Stella, however, smiled triumphantly where he couldn't see. I, on the other hand, responded with an unconcerned smile. Marcus frowned, about to say something. Ethan squeezed my arm, and I quickly helped him lean on me. The nurse saw this and smiled even more brightly. Look how generous this young couple is. Why are you, a grown man, acting so sheepish? Marcus's face flushed with anger, but he couldn't say anything, only leaning closer to me. I stepped back half a pace. Marcus, let's find a time to sort things out. Having said that, I didn't look at his expression, intending to leave with Ethan, but he spoke just as I lifted my foot. Dad and Mom said they haven't seen us in a long time and want us to come home tonight. I paused. Dad and Mom. I hadn't figured out how to explain things to them yet, but I'd have to tell them eventually, so I reluctantly agreed. That evening, I was busy with company matters while Ethan was bustling about in the kitchen for me. A sudden work assignment left me dizzy with activity. I had completely forgotten about visiting Dad and Mom. It wasn't until Marcus came to knock on the door that I remembered. I quickly tidied myself up. Marcus didn't rush me as he usually would.
We didn't talk much on the way.
Our roles seemed to have completely reversed. Marcus was now the one desperately trying to make conversation. Seeing how truly awkward he was, I took the initiative to start a conversation. How is Stella doing? Marcus, however, didn't say anything more. He turned on the car radio, clearly not planning to find any other topics for conversation. When we arrived at the house, I stopped him and said, Marcus, our situation needs a resolution eventually, so why don't we? He didn't get to speak before the door opened from inside. Grandma smiled and said, You're finally here. Your William and I have been waiting for you. Marcus's grandma was also there. I had no choice but to swallow my words. Grandpa and Dad were busy in the kitchen while Mom and Grandma were organizing gifts in the living room. Grandma was a very kind elderly woman, but her health hadn't been good in recent years. However, her mindset was very positive and she wanted to travel more while she was still able to move around. I hadn't expected that my return would coincide with theirs. Bringing up these topics around Grandpa and Grandma seemed like it would upset them. Throughout the entire meal, I had to force a smile. Before I left, Grandma repeatedly asked me, Grace, that rascal of ours hasn't been bothering you, has he? I don't have much time left, but I hope you two can be happy. Seeing her expectant gaze, I could only nod. Marcus seemed in good spirits, taking my hand and gazing at me with affection as he said, Grace and I will definitely make it work between us. It wasn't until we stepped outside that I realized Marcus's strategy. Curious, I pulled my hand away from him. You used Grandma. Marcus, however, admitted it openly.
Yes.
If you don't care about what we once had, are you really willing to break Grandma's heart? Seeing his audacity, I scoffed. Why should I care? If Margaret knew I spent my whole life unhappy just for her sake, that's what would truly break her heart. Just then, Stella's call came through again. I sneered. Aren't you going to answer it? She's feeling unwell again. What if there's something wrong with the baby she's carrying? You won't be able to be a father to that child. Marcus actually resisted answering and spoke to me instead. Grace, I know I've made a mistake. I've made arrangements for Stella. She has professionals helping her. If you don't like me getting close to other women, I'll definitely be careful from now on. I won't do anything you don't like. The phone kept ringing again and again, as if it wouldn't stop until someone answered. Hearing it made me feel uneasy. Maybe you should answer it. It might be something urgent. Marcus replied, She's at the hospital. There are far more professionals there than me. They don't need an amateur like me. I raised an eyebrow. Marcus actually knew that everyone has their own expertise. The old Marcus would never have thought of that. When she called, he'd lose all capacity for thought, his mind fixated solely on rushing to Stella's side. Marcus tried to reach for me. The next second, another phone rang. I immediately answered. Ethan asked, Grace, are you back yet? The moment he spoke, I could tell something was off in his tone. I quickly pressed him. Ethan, did you fall again? Don't worry. I'm done here. Wait for me. I'm coming right back. After hanging up, I was about to flag down a taxi, but stopped me. Grace, don't believe him. That's his usual trick, just to get you to come back. I pushed him away. Why are you so critical of Ethan? He's just a patient with injured legs. He's not a manipulative person. You don't get along well with him, and for now I don't feel comfortable leaving him to live on his own. So all things considered, it just means we're not cut out for living together anymore. Marcus stood frozen in place. I finally held a taxi and was about to get in. Marcus stopped me again, whispering softly, "As long as you don't get a divorce, it doesn't matter even if Ethan lives here." I didn't hear him clearly and shook his hand off. Marcus then shouted at the top of his lungs, "As long as you, Grace, don't divorce me, I'm willing to live in harmony with Ethan." With that single sentence, passers-by frequently turned their heads, and even the taxi driver's eyes widened, staring at me. I ended up arriving home blushing. Although the words were out, Grandma was so kind to me that the divorce kept getting postponed. Ethan's injuries also showed no signs of full recovery. Meanwhile, Marcus actually managed to truly leave Stella behind and came home every day. He preferred to sleep on a small bed in the home office every day rather than return to the campus apartment the school had arranged for him. Later, I eventually found out through Marcus's childhood best friend's social media post. Marcus had sought out Stella's family, and then her ex-boyfriend STA had never truly cut ties with him. They had been in constant contact. Stella wanted to enjoy the attention from her ex-boyfriend while also receiving care from Marcus. Now that her secret was out, she ended up on bad terms with both. She came to the house multiple times, but Marcus explicitly rejected her. After many attempts, Stella finally gave up unwillingly. Whenever I tried to talk to Marcus about divorce, he'd play dumb and evade it. And if I tried to ask about Ethan's injuries, he'd inexplicably get upset. A delicate balance was surprisingly maintained in our house. Eventually, I couldn't be bothered to ask anymore. During the day, someone looked out for me, offering care and concern. In the evening, someone had dinner ready. My life seemed better than before, so why fuss over it?